Yes, you can, right? A rate out of 5. Okay, 5. So if I have to rate myself on JavaScript, I'll rate 3.5 to 4. There are a lot of things which are still, I'll say I'm learning a lot of things new in JS as well. 3.5 to 4, that's what. Okay, so you want exact. Okay. Okay, you can mention 3.8. 4. Framework. So majorly we worked on React and JavaScript. I've worked on little bit of on Next as well. So that will be like 3 out of 5 because I haven't explored a lot in Next. And there are other languages as well which I've worked on, Python or Kotlin, Flutter. If Python, I'll rate myself 4 out of 5. Scripting, yeah. Like Python is the first language which we learned while I was in college, and from then till now, I'm working on Python, creating some Selenium project or something like that. Okay. Okay. Sure. Just give me 1 second. Let me this way. Script. JavaScript practice. Let me try to get something here. Sorry. Oh, sorry. It is a file format. In that we have index.js. It is see. Works now. Now I have this. It is what is getting my app. But we have to do it by ID. Okay. Before that, I can do this inside my loop iteration. Or like, do we have any already predefined list that this is 5 numbers? so I can iterate through 5. So what I'm thinking right now that I'll make a loop, and in that loop I'll pass my ID, and I'll first check that the first iteration. So basically, if I'm making loop less than 5 and less than 5, because we don't have it, first have to identify how many items we have here. So after getting the ID, like if I get 5 numbers, then what I'll do, I'll check if that five is even or odd. If it is odd, then I'll the value I've received may be 3. So I'll check the take my element of 3 and I'll set the value to something else, the color to something else. But however, I'll take that we have 5 IDs, not 6. So if I wrap this in some div, similar like we have app here, if I wrap this in my app, then I won't enable if I wrap this, then with this ID, can I find all these ID, like 11 IDs? Um, like logic is pretty simple. Like just find the value and find the ID and check if that value is modulus of 0 is not equal to 0 or not. If it is 0, then set by some value, and I can identify by get element by ID, and I can set my length. How I'll identify that if my ID is, there must be some function which helps me to identify all the values. Just give me a second. Just give me get all the element. Get elements by ID. Mainly on the React side. So like if you have to create some component, then in JavaScript, mostly TypeScript. But we don't create any web page directly on JavaScript plus HTML. So that's why I'm not unable to identify if I get this by some class name and giving some. Like I understand, I know how this logic going to work. I just have to identify how I'll fetch all the values, all the IDs. Because a function called elements, so it will give me the array of all the list or all the class name which have same class name. So if I give some class name, I'll give some class with one, and I can split it. That's not. I do must be the class can be same. Stop this thing. This first. Just not able to take values right now, like how I'll pick all the IDs. Okay. So find the output of the following. So should I write the output? So this is like like we have running the whole consoles in a one go, right? Okay. So 1, 2, then we have a timer. So timeout. Queue this. So first 1, 2, then it will print 4, then 6, then it will push it to callback queue with 1 second timer. It will push it to callback queue with 0 second timer. It will go first 5 and 3. That will be sequence. So basically, when we JavaScript is a synchronous language, but when we use setTimeout, we are so everything execute in JavaScript execute in execution context. So when this program runs, so it is start from the line 1. The first input, it will go in the execution context. It will run. It will print 1. It will print the same way. It will print 2. Then when we are on this line, this will execute. But we have setTimeout. So when we have execute anything in setTimeout, we are attaching a callback function with my setTimeout, or we have with a delay of 1 second. So this will be pushed in my callback queue. So first the timer will be attached to this function, and after 1 second this will be pushed to my callback queue. And when there is nothing in my callback queue, then it will push that callback queue item. Like event loop push my callback queue item into my execution context, then it will run. So this is for 1 second. This is still in a timer, or the timer is still running, and after that it will be pushing in the callback queue. But in that execution context, the next thing is 4, so it will print 4. Similarly for this as well, even the timer is 0, but still this will be pushed on callback queue, and when we have something in callback queue, it will only run. It will only run when we don't have anything in our execution context. So it will run this first, and when these commands has been executed, then there is nothing in the execution context. Then callback queue, the event loop will take the values from the callback queue and push that into execution context to run. So now we have two things, but this timer will execute first. So this will be pushed first in our callback queue, and after this, after 5, 3 will be pushed. So if that's an array format, so it will be like first execute 5, then 3, and that particular will be pushed in our execution context, and then it will print in the same sequence. So we have object obj, in that we have object abc, and obj1 is equals to object. We are making a copy. obj2 is making copy with the shallow, with the split operator with obj. Okay, obj3 object dot assign and object. Okay, we're making a deep copy of it. Now what we are doing, consoling obj1 dot a plus plus. obj1 is a direct copy of obj1 dot a plus plus. obj2, obj3. So obj3 is a deep copy, so we don't see A plus plus. So basically, okay, we are printing obj in the last to verify which values has been updated. So for these three, it will be a plus plus 2, 3, 4. This will be updated on the obj1, same as obj as well. So let me do this thing. Let me make the obj for my reference. That now my A has been completed by 1. That is equal to my B has been updated with obj2 copy of. We are changing on obj. Spread of it takes a shallow copy. Here. C++ 3 D copies. It won't impact R1 for obj1. It will print me 2, 3, and the value. And this will give me this. Something like this. So, right, we are creating 3 objects from obj. Literally that we are making copies, so the memory and the reference are same. It is split operator we use to create another object, but it is also a shallow copy. So we are just copying the reference as well. With this, we can create a deep copy. So when we are making deep copy, so any change in object 3 won't change in the initial object, that is obj. But any change in obj, which is direct copy, and obj2, which is a shallow copy, it will impact our initial object as well. So when we are increasing the value in 1 and 2, it will increase in my initial object as well. But in a deep copy, we don't. It won't impact in our initial object. That is how I got the result. Yes. So when we talk about shallow copy, it is fast. But the main reason for fast is it's just copying all the memory reference. It is not creating a new for them. So when I'm making a copy, so if I change anything in my value, so if I change something on B and C or D, A, B, C, it will change in my original object as well. But in deep copy, we are like creating a different memory reference for the new object as well. So when we are changing anything in the new object, it won't impact in our original object. That is a major difference. This is one way. Other ways we can do it by json.parse and then json.stringify. We can create a deep copy of that as well. So these are the 2 ways. Or use some deep clone function to copy an object. So in deep copy, it won't. Object. So this is a way to make a copy of object in a blank object format. So it is creating a obj reference object in obj3 as a deep copy. One, two, three. A plus plus. The value of A has been updated. The value of B has not updated the original object. C. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So okay, in this case we are updating a value after printing it, after logging it. If we use plus plus C, then it would have increased the value beforehand. But split operator we use to create a shallow copy. These I understood. This I've misread in the question that we are increasing it after end. We're just logging it here. So it is not updating values of our original object. So it is also creating, when it creating the object 2, it is not changing our initial object. So that means this is not a shell object. That I understood. That is like I misread the notion. Like what we are consoling. But we use this in a React code, and we create another object, and we update our original object with this as well. Like, okay. Mhm. Map filter reduce. Okay, so like we have map filter reduce is a way to iterate, and when we have an array in that array, I have to transform that array into something else. So I'll use my map function. Like the format is like array.map, and in that I'm passing some transform function. Maybe it is checking just for odd number or anything. We are creating a new array, completely new array, by transforming it. Filter help us to filter that particular array into something else. So let's suppose we have an array of 1 to 10, and in that I have to filter only the odd number, and I'm passing array.filter, and in that I'm passing my logic of odd number, that if the number is odd, only then it will be returned. So it will give me the filtered value of the all the odds value. It is not giving me the complete array. Like in map, we will get the complete transformed array. It will filter some values according to our logic, and in reduce we will get only the single output. That after passing everything, we are just returning a single output, reducing it to 1. Like we need some array, and from that array we are going to reduce it with some logic, with some function, that function is going to reduce. So without some initial value we cannot reduce. Like we need something from that we can reduce, right? Like similarly, if we have to transform something, so we need an array to transform that array, or we need some values to filter that value, like filter some values from it. So I have to create a function that is returning sum of array of integer. So like we have an array, in that the values are in integer. So something like this. We have an array in that we have some values, similar, something like this. So what I yeah, it can be minus sign. So I have to give the sum of all the numbers, right? So um, let me write it here. So let me give you in doc. Okay, not an issue. Sure, not an issue. This, this. Can I do it on this formatting issue I'm getting? So it will be way fast. Okay. So in that I'm passing my. This is like I'm not an issue. So in that I'm passing my array. Here is my array. The first approach is I'll make a sum which is 0. I'll iterate in my sum. Let I 0. Yeah. I have to use reduce only. Okay. So, so the first approach is okay, by using reduce. Okay. Okay, I'll do that with reduce as well. Just give some of I and we have I. Just we have this array and we have to do it via reduce. Okay, sum. Iterating through this and returning the sum. Y-axis undefined. So after iterating to the first element, like it is giving me undefined. It is not like we are accessing it before initializing the value. Syntax of reduce, like map, filter, reduce, they all have the same syntax. Um, then reduce, we don't pass any computer in that initial value start value. I'm not sure for reduce syntax. I've seen the syntax of reduce with some commutator function or but I, they have the accumulator, they have like 3 params. But I have to like recheck syntax once. accumulator with just give me a second. Let me just verify what I'm getting in all the values. Item, I'll get my items in my index just to verify. I'm define I'm getting in my accumulator. This is after return, and 6 and 5. Okay, so item, I'm getting all the items. I have to add all my items in my accumulator and return it. Okay. Here. Twenty seven, 7 through 10, 13, 17. Okay, 36 minus 9, 27. So this is a way. Like I was just not sure about the thing. This is a way to use reduce and return our accumulator. Can we use reduce in object? Array is also an object. In that, like we use key and value pair. In object, we like in array we use index-based system, but in object we use key and value pair. So object in reduce, then I can do, like we can do that. How? So we have to. So if it is a instead of array, I'll use some object. Add 9 and every value. So the new array will be 10. Mhm. Mhm. So I'll add in the return that whatever accumulator I'll receive, I'll return plus 9. And if I have to 36, it is adding and it is adding at every value. Okay. So I have to add 9 some value in my accumulator. Okay, so what else I can do? I can check the index. Index. This I can do. If my array dot length is equals to index, then I'll add my value 9. Array of length. It'll start from 0. It'll give me. Okay. So this way I can do that. Multiply or into one value. Multiply every number with 3. Then I'll do I have to reduce it, or I can use map? Okay, so like if I have to do this, first I'll do in my array I'll use map and make a new array with multiplication of 3, and then I'll reduce it. Like for if I use map, I'll make my new array. Okay, so you're saying instead of using map, I have to directly do it in my reduce only. Okay, so if I have to do it in my reduce, then every time I'm adding my number, I'll, instead of adding after, so I have to multiply it with, so it will accumulate the value. Should be negative. Yes. Like I'm not getting what you want me to do it. If I multiply my accumulator with some number or add it, we can do any operation with some logic in my accumulator. Hmm. But we are okay. So we are multiplying something with undefined because in the initial when at the first time, ACC is undefined. Okay, so like it is getting video. It should be undefined. Uh, according to logic, like if we multiply something with undefined, it should give undefined. But I'm also not sure like why. If at the first time it is undefined, and after like adding, we are adding the values, and it is giving me the value, return value. But we are getting the value. Cool, not an issue. We haven't moved to React. Like the main thing I'm working, and you don't ask me any question about it. This thing, yeah, like but there are a lot of things like which we use in. Mhm. But still, I'll say that this thing I've used in React, and in that when we make an object copy with split operator, it'll make a shell object. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, this I misread. That I thought that we are console. Uh, mm-hmm. Like so, I've used this at the first level. Mhm. So I've used this in reducers. So in that, like I had faced a problem that I was creating an object and I'm like making a new object and updating my second object. But while I'm using my split operator, it is updating in my initial object as well, which I don't want it to at that time. So I use JSON.parse and parse.stringify to make a deep copy of object and then modify it. Yeah, because mutable and then we'll again make it to object to make a deep copy. So these two ways I already know, but I didn't know about this. And this is my mistake that I misread the console. And for this as well. And for this, I know the logic. I am still not sure how I'll fetch the values of all the IDs. Mm-hmm. React. Like when we make any component in any React, like any feature which we are making, we don't have to like change the color according to, or like something like this. Like we mostly have to use some values from which we receive from the server, and according to that we are making our component or making some logic. So like hmm. Yeah, I got your point. Yeah, I got it. And if, okay, in initial, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Object here. Hmm. One here to just pass the initial value of a computer. But when I okay, so like I haven't used reduce in any of my project, but yeah, I knew that we have multiple inputs, and okay, I'll also remember this thing. But like if I haven't passed anything, it is undefined right now. So multiplying of something undefined will give me undefined. But but it is, yeah, but it is giving me the value. So this is something which, so this is also something which I'll check. Yeah, I'll definitely gonna check this thing. Like I'm curious to know if I'm not know anything. Like I accept that I don't know everything. So I'm willing to learn all these things, small things which can uh, impact. I'll definitely gonna check this. So you don't have any question regarding React or something like that? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I also I'm not saying that I don't help my juniors in my current company as well. I do that, but mostly whatever I do is mostly work on the React part. So that's why I'm more I'll say comfortable, or I'll not say comfortable, but I haven't used reduce like in my any program. So that's why I was not able to recall. Okay, like we are returning a single value, like the way I said it, like in reduce we are using some function, and in that we, we got it. That's why it is simple. Mapper arrays, new arrays, it will always give me arrays. Multiple, like we can use add, map multiple, not map dot filter. Yeah, yeah, we can do it multiple times. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll definitely gonna check this out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, understood. Mm-hmm. I'll do that. I'll do that for sure. Not. I'll go check this out. Understood. Point pointed. So like we had a lot of thing on JS today. So like what is the, like when we are working in Nykaa, so the what is the main, like they are working on framework, or most of the logics which we create are on the backend side just now to increase the